the light beer project looks at Bud Light. Well, Bud Light has been around for over 30 years. It came out in 1982. The original light beer from Anheuser-Busch, in fact, was Natural Light, which came out in 1977. But being that Budweiser was the #1 beer in the world at the time, they probably figured it was a good idea to have a Budweiser Light. So Budweiser Light came out in '82, and after 2 years they changed it to Bud Light. 4.2% alcohol, 110 calories, says your average light beer configuration there. It's not ultra light. It will have a little body to it and a little flavor and a little, a little something there. Born on date here, March 27, 2014, so it's over a month old, but it should be fine in the can. Alright, this was popular from the get-go, and then it became more popular, and by the mid-90s it became the #1 light beer in America, and then recently, the last 7-8 years, it overtook Budweiser as the #1 beer in the world. So now Budweiser is #2 and Bud Light's #1. Okay. Your mass-produced lager beers in general are sort of they're in a relative decline. Their numbers are dropping in face of stiff competition from your craft beers. So that's kind of an interesting thing that's going on these days. It's very clear, straw, and you can pick up the fine sediment here like you would in any beer, but it's very hard to see. It's bubbly in this etched Anheuser-Busch tasting glass. You've seen Bud Light, I'm sure. You've probably had it many times. Some of their ad campaigns are a little questionable. I don't mean they're offensive or anything. They're just sort of silly, and to me it doesn't help. If they're not dignified, they don't really help the brand. But it's kind of somewhat of an eggy aroma in a way, like the Schaefer Light. Not too bad on that. Mostly just sweet grain. And a sweet, very watered down flavor. It is basically Budweiser watered down. They use rice as the adjunct, polished rice, just like Budweiser. You can bet that the quality control is going to be extremely high on this, okay, because they want to protect this brand in Budweiser at any cost as far as the reputation of it. Beer Advocate says it's awful. The bros say it's awful. Rate Beer gives it a 1 out of 100. Oh, I'm sorry, not a 1. I'm being too generous. An NA out of 100. In other words, it's so lowly rated there, poorly rated, that it can't even get a 0. Well, from time to time I'll do beer examinations with Maria Devon. Maria Devon, the girl next door, and she's not a fan of American mass-produced adjunct lagers, okay, for sure. She thinks they're okay, more or less has the opinion that they're dull, and you can't really, you and I, we can't really argue that point. That tends to be the case, but even she would say it's hardly an NA or even a 1 out of 100. I mean, she would give it a intelligent rating, okay, and so that's the thing you have to kind of look at when you're looking at those sites. They kind of go off the rails when they're reviewing mass-produced beers. I'm not a fan of light beer personally. Doesn't mean it's bad. I used to really rip on them in the mid-90s when I started drinking beer and go around telling people, like, why you want to drink that mineral water? Why you want to do that? Why you want to do that? But stop doing that kind of stuff. So if you like Bud Light, or if you hate it or whatever, just give me a ring. Give me a comment on this video. So thank you for watching this video production.